Hey guys, so we're finally back. So I hope you got done watching my American Horror Story predictions of season 12 as well as 13. Like I said, I think the witches should be back on the 13th season, which will be very fitting according to the number as well as the meaning behind 13. So let's get right into this. So Game of Thrones House of Dragons kicks off. So the prequel focused on some couple of things that I really wanted to talk about. So like I said, the Game of Thrones prequel talks about so many different things. It talks about the reigning family at that time, 200 years ago. It took place 172 years before the rebellion of the event of Game of Thrones. The Song of Fire and Ice, which is the book series that is titled of the same name by the author of J.J.R. Martin. His prequel focused on the Fire and Blood, which is the Game of Thrones House of Dragons prequel. Now this is very good. Like the scene, the scenery, everything about this prequel first season is such an amazing thing. Like I said, we will be focusing on the first 5 episodes in this video and talk about some small similarities as well as some summary of each of the episode and what I thought about it. So on the first episode, it basically covers the introduction to some of the characters. We saw that the new show basically focused on some small and once powerful clan or family. The Targaryens are back, not just the last Targaryen, but the whole Targaryen family, giving us an inside view of how the Targaryen family, how they used to rule. It eventually led by the Daenerys family. Daenerys family played by Emilia Clarke, who is going to be King Viserys' daughter, and to Eccles in exile. Usually it's one of those most interesting things in the episode. Like for an example, the first episode covers two things. It is a distribution or understanding or a argument of line of succession, and the reigns of dragon open up with King Joffrey's, and played by Michael Carter, who is presenting a great council to announce who will take over his throne. To the absence of the royal son, the 2 candidates to post the future ruler of the 7 kingdoms present Princess Rhaenyra Velaryon and the oldest living granddaughter, the Prince Viserys. So we saw that already there's a division between the families, and King Joffrey's decision to call a great council, basically to call out who will be the next heir to his throne. The Rhaenyra got dubbed, and then the queen, who never was by the support of King Joffrey. But the decision came down to be King Viserys, who became the new king of the 7 kingdoms. We saw some major black blows to acclaim the king who is elected. They even cut down the title card, sadly. There were so many things that has happened before that came to be, and we saw that as he go along inside of the chamber, that the line of succession, it was pretty cool to see King Viserys knocking clearly at heaven's door. They mentioned that, you know, King Joffrey was basically back when the Great Council was still just a strange pupil, but back then he mastered so many different things, and that now that he became king, apparent to the throne, he became the king. So now that he is now named King Viserys, otherwise also to listen to the hand of Princess Demira, who is also taking to the seat of the Iron Throne, shutting out that acting that if he's the monarch. Also, the Lord of the High Kings is just a I would say doom shark. But the cool thing about it is that we saw so many different line of succession that appeared in the first episode, but automatically we saw whoever became the monarch is the person that is line to succession. So we saw so many things that happened, and that, you know, the daughter, like there was a lot that happened in the first episode. Like the impact of the first episode also showed what the season was gonna be like. You know, he saw that the fight between having a heir apparent, which is always a male pupil instead of a female pupil, you know, that never happened in how many years that he's been king. And the history of who should be ruling, even as Targaryens, was in question. Well, the Great Council made a decision that, you know, you need to have an heir apparent son, because that's how he would carry the name, because, you know, it still had the same laws even in real world. Like, a man will not take a woman's last name, it's the other way around. So the fact that he will crown the first child that he has is a girl. So anyway, anyhow, as much as he loved her, he was basically planning on giving her the reins to it. At the end of the episode, we saw major things that happened. You know, the similarly to the show Handmaid's Tale, we saw that the mother of the Queen Anemia also died. And the sad part is, like, she had a C-section and the baby came out to be deformed. So not only Rhaenyra lost basically a brother, but, you know, she was not supposed to be the ruling apparent, like the person that she's gonna be ruling. At the end of the episode, we saw the mom got burned by, I guess, the dragon that she had, because we even saw the glimpse of all the dragons. And let me tell you, the way that they designed the dragons and how it looks realistic, it shows that they definitely captured the medieval time of the entire season. Moving on to furthermore instruction of the show, we saw so many other things that happened. Going on to the Rogue Prince, it shows that after the following death of Queen Rhaenyra, a weakened Viserys Targaryen agrees to. So basically, after the death of his wife, it didn't take him that much to, like, group himself up to gain a new wife. And the wife that he ended up getting is the best friend of Princess Rhaenyra, who is now the stepchild to her best friend, because the best friend is now the queen. And she started populating kids. And then the dad of the best friend also is part of the Great Council seat. So her father whole mindset is to take down King Viserys to replace it with a apparent heir, which is a male heir. Because even the councils are plotting to downfall the rest of the Targaryen main family. And we could clearly saw that in the second and third episode. You know, the episodes are titled Rogue Prince, and then the third episode is titled Second in His Name. So these two episodes, we saw that, like, you know, Daemon, the brother of King Viserys, they don't see eye to eye, but it goes to show we were so focused on him being the bad guy, but it ended up being not. He ended up being one of those people that you could actually trust, even though he has his own motives. He is not after the kingdom itself. He's just doing his own thing. And we saw further on in the episode, the king started getting sick, and the kids he had with the friend of Princess Rhaenyra started growing up, and you could clearly see the signature look of a Targaryen, which is the blonde pale hair. And remember, they even mentioned that sometimes the Targaryens could be mistaken by gods than human, because they could ride the dragons and they could be so powerful while doing all these things. So I believe out of all the characters in the prequel Game of Thrones, as much as people shung the King Viserys, I clearly see that he did the best he can, basically trying to keep the family together, and that he should have seen these things coming. Like, definitely when he saw that the rest of the council are basically trying to bring down his entire family, because he feel as if, you know, his daughter has to be married with someone, and end up being that the person that she's trying to marry is not even interested in marrying her because he has another lover. And you know, he basically loved the same, you know, attributes as another man. And the crazy part is that even Rhaenyra was like, we could just play along and you do your own thing and I do my own thing, but let's just keep it like that, because we don't even want to rule the same thing, and at the same time our families are putting us together to be married so that we could make the Targaryen family stronger, which he agrees with and she agrees with. You know, we saw like she didn't want to even talk to her dad, King Viserys, because she asked us like, how could you like date my close friend that I grew up with, and now she's not queen, so now I'm just a side, you know, one of those side counselors. Or she even asked the dad like, am I even important to you at this point? Because at this time it seems like everybody's like telling you what to do, but you have to understand that she's the only person, like Rhaenyra is the only person that could sit down and talk to her dad like that, even though that he's the king. He loves listening to his daughter at a point where he was like, do you think I would not sit here and like give you everything in the world? Like, in my world, I don't mind for you to be my line of succession, but in the actual world they would not even see it as that, because they believe that a woman's place is to give birth and give strong genes, or good children to strong genes, in order for them to be full-fledged warriors. That is the whole life of a Targaryen and what they fight for. So the last episode concludes with, we are the King of Narrow Seas, as well as the We Are the Light. Those two episodes focus strictly on how there's something, a warrior called the Crab Feeder, which is kind of, he looked like he belonged in Pirates in the Caribbean, but he did some amazing stuff, and that he got attacked because of that, and Damien killed him and basically burned the entire island and claimed that island to, you know, Westeros. So it was pretty cool to see all that happen in the first 5 episodes. The next episode I will be covering is from episode 6 to episode, I guess, 10, which will cover the last 4 episodes or 5 episodes, which is titled the Princess and the Queen, the Driftmark. Episode 8 is titled Episode 8, and then Episode 9 is titled Episode 9, and then lastly, the Black Queen. So those episodes are very highly strong episodes, but definitely we'll talk about, like, there's like a time skip that happened in the episode of the prequel, and I really love what they did. It shows that people were maturing, they were getting smarter, and that, you know, it's like saying like childhood is over, it's time for you to like step into your adulthood. But that'll be for next time, guys. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think Game of Thrones is something this season was very revealing? And I'll see you guys soon.